right. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm so glad you're here today because today's session is going to be a real behind the scenes look at what's actually working in social media marketing. And maybe more importantly, what doesn't. Today, we're lucky to have with us Fiona Bradley, founder of FB Comms, multi award winning marketeer, and strategist trusted by brands like Coca Cola, NHS, Rolex, Unilever, and many more. Fiona has been recognized as Freelancer of the Year twice, Digital Agency Owner of the Year, and most recently, her agency was crowned Startup of the Year at the EU Content Awards. So, when it comes to cutting through the noise and helping brands perform, she's seen it all. Today, Fiona will be walking us through her social media playbook, strategy, reporting, and what we can finally stop wasting time on. Expect candor, real examples, and a few things you'll probably want to screenshot. Fiona, thank you so much for being here with us today. Let's dive in.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That's very nice. Perfect. So this is the social media ads playbook. We're going to go through strategy, reporting, what to stop doing. And I'm Fiona Bradley, founder and director of FB Comms, content and social agency. I've been going about 5.5 years, and we've worked with so many ads clients across loads of platforms and industries. But the one thing that most of them have in common is when we first speak to them or we mention or suggest ads, a lot of the time they say, we tried ads, but they just don't work for us. It's not something that we're willing to try again, or we've been burnt in the past, we've lost lots of money. And I usually say it's probably because something in the setup is wrong, because ads, at least on one platform, will work for 99% of businesses. We haven't found one where no single platform can actually have a positive cannot have a positive effect. And I actually bought my house from a targeted meta ad, and I will never spend that much money on an ad again. But that's proof that when it works, when you're showing someone something that they're looking for, the right place, the right time, and your targeting is on point, it can have absolutely amazing effects on them. I'm still in the house. I've been there 6.5 years. And I'm so happy that I saw that ads can provide real value to people if you show the right people that will actually want to shop with you. So I'm going to take you through a case study. So we'll talk through the client, the problems they had at the start, the strategy, the results, and we're getting close to it. So this is our Black Friday plan as well. Icelink are a luxury jewelry brand. They're an Armenian jewelry brand based in LA, and loads of influencers love them. So Charlie D'Amelio, the TikTok star, Madonna wears it. Loads of the Selling Sunsets cast. Also, the Kardashians buy into it, being an Armenian brand. And the key thing that you want to start off with any new client or manager, or whenever you're reviewing your ads, is what do you want from your ads, or generally as a whole, and that will determine your entire strategy. So not what do you want, but also what are you unsatisfied with at the minute. If someone's coming to us from another agency, or they've tried to run them themselves, I'm like, right, what was the problem at the start? What do you want to know? So the first problem with Icelink, I said, was the communication. All ads managers should be able to answer the questions: what ads are live, what's going live next month, what's being spent, which ads are performing, which creatives are performing, which audiences are performing. And when we asked Icelink this, they also had no idea. So what the heck did we do about it? We set up a Slack channel to make sure that we were updating them at the end of every week. This is what's working. This is what isn't. This is what we're bringing into the next week, or this is the ad that we flicked off. This is how the next month's going to go. I've actually since moved these sheets to Notion, just because I prefer it aesthetically, but also it's exactly the same structure. So they also are able to see the strategy plan broken down by platform. How much are we spending? The top, middle, bottom of funnel, how much are we spending on each of those? What are the audiences we're going into? What are the ads? And what are the focuses? Because it's a lack of communication when managers or the big boss, or when they're pitching to the shareholders or investors and they're like, where is our money going? You can just show them this. This is exactly, you want people to have transparency as much as possible. And we also break it down so they can approve every single bit of text. They can approve all the images. They can just make sure that we've always got a tick there, even if it's internal. We make sure that any companies that we're working with, someone's approved it. Someone said yes before that can go ahead. Also, avoid the trap of too many layers of approval. You just want one person that gets the final sign off, because everyone's going to have an opinion on creative and ads. Someone in the brand team's going to want it to be really beautiful and fluffy and, give an air and drive emotion. But you still need to basically ask people to factually check it. Not, is this your personal preference? Is this kind of factually right and accurate? We also have shared iPhone albums with all our clients, because if they're at conferences, if they're in the store, so Icelink, whenever the staff are in the store, they've all got access to this to be able to send us anything new that's coming in, or they get any, it's a slow day and they can just make TikTok trends in the back room. So that really, really helps with getting any content, even for LinkedIn clients, on the fly and as we go. And we get monthly meetings booked in with all of them ahead. And Susie, the founder, absolutely loves this. So we give them a Swydo report. So we also have a different view to what we use versus what they use. So this one, Susie only really cares about the main headline. So how much have I spent? How much have I made? What's the return? And also, what kind of assets are working and what videos do you need me to send you? So the second problem is seasonality. When we first started working with Icelink, all of their sales were coming in on Black Friday. Different businesses have different seasons. So you might find that everything slows down in December, and then January, everyone panics and they start wanting new year, new me, new marketing plans. Let's all rush in. Usually we find that about February, people start panicking that they need to get the year in order and planned. Or you might have some be in e-com, be rushing around right now. So to combat that, they were trying to just constantly run sales, and they were absolutely butchering their own margins by constantly just finding new things to discount, because that's ultimately what drove the sales on Black Friday. And then in the minds of their current customers, they were waiting until there was a sale rather than buying into any of the new stuff as and when it came out. So what the heck did we do about it? We did seasonal giveaways by adding value rather than taking down the margin. So February did gift boxing for Valentine's Day. If they're trying to get rid of a load of charms, then we'll make sure that we add that on. Even with some of our own services or any B2B, we're adding value. So anyone that signs up here gets, I don't know, an extra, anyone that books a content shoot this month gets an extra 3 edited videos, something like that. The third problem was that they had limited new shoppers, because all the ads that were being run currently were retargeting ads, which are great because really high ROAS. It looks great when you show the client and the client sees the results. It does improve loyalty. It's a really easy win. And a lot of agencies focus really, really heavily on retargeting because it looks good. But the audience then stays small if you're not building it. It's not conducive to long-term sales, because people do get fed up after seeing them a certain amount of time. And especially with Icelink and you're in jewelry, people only have so many wrists and fingers to put jewelry on. So you're going to hit the cap of that retargeting and end up wasting your money by not building the audience. So we made sure that we were catering for the full funnel. We were going to new audiences, and we were just collecting as much data as we could. So the top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, in practice building the ads in, so this is the structure we use in, say, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Meta. We'd have the campaign, top, middle, bottom. We'd have at least 2 ad sets where you set your audiences to A/B test, and each one of those would have 3 to 5 ads in. That kind of looks like top of funnel would be new customers, never seen or heard of your brand at all before. We'd show them the best sellers, and the main thing, educational content. People can't develop emotional and resonance with your brand if they don't understand what it is. This was really important with a sparkling tea client. We sell it and we run the ads in Hong Kong, which was really almost easy to be able to make that top of funnel sale because it's so commonly drunk over there. Whereas in the UK, people are commenting, going, what the heck is sparkling tea? So we need to educate people. What is it? When do you drink it? We're working with bartenders, Michelin-starred chefs to get the videos to be able to say, this is what you pair it with, this is when you'd serve it. And that worked way better to convert people to the middle of funnel. So middle of funnel will be engagers, site visitors, social followers. You'd show them the top performers in any specific campaigns. Bottom of funnel is where you'd show the sales and discounts, any similar products and categories. So make sure that your top of funnel has exclusions in. Otherwise, the platforms will literally just use the top of funnel as retargeting. It always wants to get you the lowest cost per sale, obviously. And if you don't exclude then everyone in the middle of funnel and bottom from the top, it will just retarget. Same with the middle, exclude everyone from the bottom. So it's a true retargeting audience. So these are some of the retargeting audiences that we've used for Icelink. So we had one that was just social engagers and video viewers. We had one that was catalog engagers that we were retargeting with the catalog. And then the bottom of funnel was people that had shown actual purchase intent. So they'd taken actions like adding to the cart, they'd initiated checkout, they'd started the payment, or they'd lapsed, they'd not bought in a few months, or they'd previously purchased from a different category. So web visitors and view content also went in as an additional middle of funnel. When you're looking at the actual returns, you'd be able to see that it does even out, but top of funnel, especially with something that's more expensive or people don't understand or need a bit more convincing, you're going to be almost breaking even on top of funnel. It's middle and bottom where the money's really made, that you want to see the bigger returns, and then it kind of balances itself out overall. So the goals for Icelink we had: overcome seasonality, build a longer term growth strategy, and we wanted to grow a really loyal fan base. So needing to ask kind of who are the audience, where are the audience, and how are they using the internet to shop? Of course, they're looking at loads of personalized or Armenian jewelry by searching on Google. So like, right, what's going on in the Google account right now? So the actual ROAS showing in there was 45.73. So every dollar they were putting in, they were getting about $45 back in theory. And that would have been great as well, but they were only actually spending $388 per month. So it wasn't actually that huge returns when you balance it out. And when we then imported it into Swydo, and we also used their Google Analytics, we used their Shopify data, we could see that actually the Google account was miscounting it. It was also counting conversions, including things like add to baskets or initiate checkout, rather than pure purchases. So this number was in fact inflated. And because it was only a brand search, it's people that already know who Icelink are, they're just searching for Icelink. So actually, they're probably not getting any new customers with that kind of tactic. So we made sure that we were running lots of shopper ads as well, so that they'd also retarget people and around the web, and we were using PMax to run Google ads. So any of the content that we were creating for TikTok, for Meta as well, we were making sure that was going across the YouTube account. And actually, even though we were just posting it organically, some of the TikTok content started performing better on YouTube organically. So it was a win-win in all situations. We made sure that Google Tag Manager was correctly installed on all of the pages. But we then had one more problem. We were confused as to why no one was buying from anywhere outside the US. And we only kind of got this data when we had everything in the dashboard and we're just looking at demographics, psychographics, how can we tighten up the targeting? But we were still running ads internationally. And the problem was when we were thinking, right, let's go back through the process, and from the UK, let's go through the checkout process, what could be happening. And the shipping was nuts. It was like nearly a third of the actual purchase price again. So obviously people would be dropping off at that. And we told the client, so even if you're not responsible for the website or these kinds of bugs, you are in a way responsible for the end result. Even if it's not your job as a social media manager, as the ads manager, it's no good for anybody if you're driving all the perfect people to the site, but there's just something that means that all these people are dropping off for some reason. So even if you can flag that and they can tweak it, so it turned out that the shipping settings were actually calculated by kilometer rather than by destination and import taxes, anything like that. So we were able to get them to fix this. And then on the Google account, we set up multiple campaigns going for different audiences. It got men's watches, it got Armenian, solid gold, and we were able to get on average 8.46. And you can see, although the cost drastically went up, so did the conversion value that we were getting back for them. Looking at their Meta account, we got them loads of new creatives, made sure we were setting up catalog ads as well. And it was going great. And week 2, this is what we saw. We were like, oh my gosh, an extra 200% of store sessions. We've made them nearly 200K in like a week. The returns for every dollar, they're getting back nearly $1,000. We're thinking, we're good, but we're not this good. We need to check. So the great thing about having a dashboard is that you're able to see the Google Analytics, the WooCommerce, the Shopify, wherever someone's, even HubSpot, we've got integrated for a couple of clients that measure their returns on there. You need to be looking at what is my boss, what is the management, what are the shareholders, investors, the client actually looking at when they're looking and doing their reporting. And this was not matching at all what we were seeing in Shopify. So we're like, what is going on? And looked into, this is in the Facebook Pixel Events Manager. I actually love this feature. So we could see that there were 3.6K purchases, but there were only 2.5K ad payment info. So we ran a bot check, which is actually a really big problem, more so on Meta and Google. So I used Veracity for the free one, for the free test. There's other companies that do this. There's one called Lumio as well. And on average, you can expect about 30% bot traffic from Meta. But we were able to then see, so this is a couple of years ago when we first saw the bot problem, that every time we ran a campaign for men's products, the bots were nearly 95%. So that's 95% of our ad spend was going on bot activity. It then turned out that speaking to them, there were a few competitors that were, I suppose, after them. It's a really, really competitive industry. And then looking further into where the traffic was coming from, it looked like a competitor had set up an entire bot farm for them in Turkey. It happens a lot more in the US than the UK, but it is something to bear in mind. If your stats are really not working out, you should be checking them anyway. There are so many reasons why the stats could be off, or loads of people are dropping off at a certain place. It could be your PayPal button doesn't work, or it's a really slow loading page, or it's just kind of hard to search for something. So then we started blocking the bots, and it went down to this is about reasonable for them. At the minute, we're on about an 8 ROAS because we've had so long building up that top of funnel. So now I've got a huge middle and bottom of funnel. So the catalog ads worked really, really well as well. We usually put as the headline by the shop now will be the product name, and then in the description the price, so that we only get clicks for people that actually know already what it is and they're already pre-qualified. So in B2B, when we're doing things on LinkedIn and even Meta lead gen, we will put a qualifier in there or in the lead form. So we only get clicks from people that know this course is going to take you X amount of months. So we're not just paying for people that aren't actually interested in it. We also made sure that all of the creatives actually fit the placement that they were meant for, because this on the left is a really sure sign of, I suppose, junior marketing or someone using something automated without actually putting in the right size image or videos. Always make sure that they fit. And then on TikTok, we started running the ads, really high click through, everything's going great, except nobody's purchasing. So we didn't have any of the data anyway to on TikTok, because it was a new account, a new pixel. We didn't have the data to on the platform to retarget people except manually importing customers. But the platform didn't have enough data to then start doing conversions straight away. So you can scale it right back. Do this on any of the platforms. So we scaled it back and we started off running then traffic ads. Not traffic, we prefer view content ads, which usually means they've stayed on the page for a little bit or that they've clicked around the page. Because if you're going for pure traffic ads, especially on Meta, you're going to get loads of bots. If you're then going for view content, it's more like people who are actually interested in it. Also, there's loads of people just with fat thumbs that might just really like clicking on things accidentally. Then when we were getting enough view contents, we started doing add to cart ads. When we were getting enough add to carts, then we went to initiate checkouts. Then when we were getting a decent cost per initiate checkout, we could go to buy. Sometimes you can skip these stages. So we can say, all right, we're getting loads of add to carts and quite a few of them are going on to purchase anyway. So let's skip straight to buy because we've got enough data there. And for the kind of content, we were using trends. We were doing lots of Spark ads, especially from the founder's profile, unboxing, UGC style. If you think of the kind of thing that you put on your Instagram account as a story, that works better on TikTok than reusing the same kind of content. So we got it in the first few months from a 0 to a 3.35. We've also recently set up their TikTok shop. So we're doing GMV ads, basically the TikTok version of a Google PMax. So it will essentially choose how and where to spend your money. We prefer to keep things as manual as possible, wherever possible. So we're still running TikTok web ads as well. And Meta automated campaigns, we're trying to keep it as manual as we can for now until January 2026. That's going to change over. We also set up their Pinterest ad account. We create some beautiful visuals. Videos actually do really well on Pinterest. But for a few weeks, it just felt like we were burning money. It just wasn't hitting the mark. And we did manage to, it did get up. It was going up really, really, really slowly though. It took maybe a month and a half of Pinterest to go from this to an overall 8 ROAS, because that took a lot of retargeting. Pinterest isn't a social media engine. You've got to remember that it's a search engine for images. So whilst you can get purchase intent with Pinterest, people often save the look and then go on to Google to find another one. Like especially we have wedding planning clients and engagement rings. Loads of traffic comes through Pinterest, but people just save it and then go find a similar one in a shop. They only use the majority of it for inspiration. So do bear that in mind, but it is actually a very underutilized platform, especially in Black Friday. Not as many people will be putting big budgets into Pinterest as the others. So we do ads checks on all of them as well. We do those 3 to 5 times per week. And that means that we tweak audience budgets. We try not to mess with them too much on Google because that takes a long time to learn. So does TikTok and Pinterest, to be honest. But Meta, I know it says learning, or that doesn't actually make a difference whether it's in learning or out of learning. And we'll switch off any ads that's not working. We'll create a new one so that we're constantly testing any ads that aren't working or any ads that have been shown too many times. And that'll inform the next week's or month's strategy and the content that we create for the ads. So the stats that we check, we've got a different dashboard for each client on Swydo that our clients do because we care about different metrics. So we're looking at mainly frequency as well. The US, you can go to a really high frequency. So frequency is the amount of times that someone will see something. So we would turn off creative if it's over a 3 frequency in the UK. If someone's seen a video or a picture or an ad 3 times and they still don't want it, I think it's safe to assume that we'll be wasting any more money showing them that thing within the next couple of weeks anyway. They're just not ready to buy, and that's okay. We'll show it to someone else who will benefit from it. But in the US, the frequency can go up quite a bit, and that's all right. We don't tend to see a drop off. The danger with retargeting, if you're constantly hammering people and getting a really high frequency, if you've got a really small retargeting audience and you put in loads of budget in it, then people will maybe ask to block your ads or say, I don't want to see this. I've seen this too many times, and it can work against you and negatively impact your ad account. We also check, do the figures match what we see in Shopify, WooCommerce, HubSpot, whatever we've agreed that we're all using the same end results reporting? Are the customers dropping off, and where? So we want to see, okay, this ad is getting loads and loads of clicks, but no one's adding to basket or checking out. Is it because it's a really expensive product, or they need a bit more convincing, or they didn't realize it was only available in so many colors? How much budget is left? We calculate that with, so today, this morning, we're like, right, say we've got 5K on TikTok. How much have we spent from the 1st to the 14th? Take that off the 5K. So we've got 4K left. What's that divided by 15? And that's our daily budget. We try do things by daily budget and try avoid the campaign overall budget, because it will just spend, I suppose, where it's working, but also the platforms don't consider, actually, even though top of funnel is going to be a lower ROAS, we still need to build that audience. Whereas if it's on campaign budget optimization, it will just funnel it all into retargeting rather than growing your audience as well. So we try split the budget and do it manually as possible. So Black Friday is coming up, and we are asking the questions of which ROAS are we seeing a return on each platform. So we're using different platforms for different purposes through Black Friday. TikTok is still not actually amazing ROAS for them because they've got quite high priced products, whereas it works really, really well TikTok Shop for e-commerce, for services, for things that are under $100 essentially. Whereas Icelink stuff's priced over $100. Some of it's a few hundred, some of it's a few thousand, which works much better on Meta, on Google, and Pinterest. What are the top performing products? So this is from the Swydo report. We can see basically nearly all of it that everyone's looking for at the minute are tennis necklaces and bracelets. So we're going to promote the heck out of them over Christmas as the 2025 essential, because those are the ads that are getting the click-throughs. That's what people are searching for. Also, the turquoise Armenian initial necklace will also feed this back to the client for, these are the things that you need to make sure that you've got in stock, or at least a decent replacement. And also, what are the top performing creatives? And we don't just look at ROAS because it's all relative. So we could say, yeah, let's absolutely put loads and loads of these women's watch ads out. But in reality, we only sold 4. And this ROAS is also, when you compare it, 0 clicks, impressions, click-through rate, cost per click. That means that it's a really old ad. So it's actually potentially from before the period, but the purchases have only just come through. So maybe they've had a basket reminder email or something like that. So actually, we can disregard this from the report. You want to make sure that you're looking at all the data, not just one stat in a silo. So although these look great as well, the bottom 2, they've only had 1 purchase each. So it's not actually potentially that great of a ROAS. So we want to look at both ROAS and the number of purchases. And what are the key sales and offers? You don't want your boss, your client, or the e-com team to have to come to you with the sales. You should be directly informing them. This is what's working. These are the products that people are actually searching for. This is what's getting the click through. However, these ads aren't working that much, so maybe let's either discount them to make it more appealing or add additional value, or batch them together if we've got a load of stock that we need to clear and make bundles with one of the more appealing products, say. Which platforms do we have the biggest retargeting audiences on? Meta and Google for Icelink specifically. Is it refreshed? We import them manually, but also make sure that any of the audiences we've created, especially with B2B and lead forms or any video view, that we're constantly updating those audiences to make sure that it includes any new lead forms, like so that we're still capturing lead form opens, lead form completes, to be able to block the people that have already completed the form from seeing it again. What ran last year? How'd it go? And how do we use that data? And increasing advertising costs, whether you're promoting e-com or not, it's going to go up, which means that you need to be smarter with your targeting and focus on retargeting. So the overall plan is that right now we're building up a huge top of funnel audience to, well, we're doing lots and lots of top of funnel targeting now so that we've got a huge middle of funnel and bottom of funnel audience. So we're doing loads of educational and valuable content. This is across all clients, not just Icelink. We've tested and we've run over 20 sale ad types. We know exactly what's going to perform on each ad account, so that we can make sure that we've got that content to those audiences on those platforms. We're using TikTok and Pinterest for traffic because those we can see are the lowest click-through rates for this client. And then Google and Meta we're using to pick up the higher purchase intent with the retargeting, just because the retargeting is much better over there. So the key takeaways, the first step, make sure that you identify preferred ways working with your boss, with your client, with your team. What are the actual goals? Where's everyone looking at the reporting? Is there a dashboard that exists? Does that match what you're looking at? And you can pull all of those data sources together in one dashboard in Swydo. And the second one, ensure that the tracking is actually working. Do some tests. Make sure that the conversions you're seeing aren't inflated, that it's properly reporting on. It's never going to match perfectly, but the closest it can be to what everyone's using as the final sales figure, the better. Make sure that you refine the ads across each platform using that data, and always, well, basically the same point, always use data to inform the next batch of ads. And if you have any questions at all, you can find me on LinkedIn. I don't think they've seen this slide, but I really love Swydo for being able to share that with clients and the dashboard and the report. And it also saves a lot of questions for us. They're not constantly saying, oh, how much are we spending? What's working? What's not? What are we doing next? What are we doing this week? And how did this go previously? And we need to get these stats for our investors because they have access to all of it. So it works really well for client relationships as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That was so insightful. And I'm sure a lot of the viewers and myself have some questions. So we'll quickly dive into a quick Q&A. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. You ended with reporting, right? So agencies like yourself churn out dozens of charts and dashboards and reports, but clients often tend to glaze over. In your experience, what's the most leanest and impactful way to report results so clients actually pay attention?
Giving them even just 4 stats. We say, what do you care about, or what makes you look good to your boss? What do your shareholders, investors want to see? So for Icelink, the founder, she just wants to see how much she's spending so that she can financially plan, and how much did that get her? What's the return so she can see? She just really likes that figure. And also what's selling so they can make sure that they've got it in stock. But that's completely different to how we set up the report for the B2B clients on LinkedIn ads. So we pull in the HubSpot data so we can see the leads that are going into there, how many of them are then converting into sales and which ads are they coming from. It depends on what the client wants to see. What dashboard are they looking at? And if you can ask at the start or before you start running ads, what are you looking at? Can you show me the figures that you're reporting, or an example report that you need to create? And then we can get that essentially as easy as possible so they can screenshot it and put it wherever they need to.
Beautiful, beautiful. You showed us some tools like Swydo and, of course, native platform checks. How do you maintain a balance? Because from what I understood, you still focus on doing a lot of things manually because you like having that control. So, how are you balancing automation and human insight when it comes to reporting?
The reporting's automated, but we do a lot of the ads checks within the platform so that we can make a quick tweak. Just
Okay.
live rather than
Hmm.
then switching to another one. Um, so we do the ads checks the kind of 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. When we'll switch from Friday over for the weekend or put the budgets up, then we'll do it in platform. Whereas Tuesday, Thursday checks, we don't tend to change anything. We just have a quick check on the dashboards.
Right. So at the beginning, we were talking about seasonality and shopper limits, right? So when you see that a campaign starts plateauing, where do you look first for growth opportunities where others might miss? Like, what is that one idea you have in your head that, okay, this is starting to plateau. This is my lowest hanging fruit. This is what I'm going after.
Retargeting would be the lowest hanging fruit, but if you've not got that audience built up, also consider the fact that there are giants that will always be spending more money on ad platforms than you on the really obvious things like
Hmm.
um fashion, handbags. There's going to be much bigger companies with much bigger budgets that are going to be spending way more money than you on just big, wide topics. You can also just completely go wide targeting. If you've got lots and lots of sales through the ad platforms already, it works better. But if you haven't, also think anecdotally. We had one client that was a life coach and we were running meta ads. And the audience that performed the best out of even people that were looking for life coaching or that were searching for therapy or had an interest in self development was after speaking with the client, um, it was people that had just come back to the UK from being on holiday. And it was within 2 weeks of them coming back from somewhere tropical because people have a lot of time to think on holiday. And then, I want to improve my life. This is amazing. They come back, they get stuck in. It's raining. It was November when we were running the ads. I'm like, God, this sucks. And then we're putting our clients at front and center right when that's happening. And they're having those thoughts saying, do you want to make a change in your life? Come speak to us. And it was that perfect moment, but you wouldn't know that until we spoke to her. And she was saying, yeah, actually, I weirdly get loads of people after they've come on holiday. So it's also looking at your Google Analytics. Are there any other interests you can see in a TikTok audience as well? What other interests do people have that you can stack? And there might be something really niche that you've just not quite thought of.
Right. With social media, the possibilities are endless, right? There's TikTok, there's Pinterest, there's Meta. How do you decide when to test a new channel versus doubling down where you already see traction?
Once we don't want to go everywhere all at once.
Yes, how? Yeah.
So we usually start off with the platform that we're the most confident is going to work for that client, the main
Mhm.
we advise, and then use the profit from that once it's got going to then start on the second channel or the third. But we can also see within the platforms you're able to, I suppose, model what are the audience sizes. Also, some of them just don't make sense. We had a dentist that wanted to run TikTok ads, and all his content were like teeth picture before afters. So obviously we're saying that's not going to fly on there. And it doesn't also matter if you go viral on TikTok because people are still going to go find a dentist on Google. So you want to be the top search thing that they find on there. So a lot of the time it is just common sense or who are the audience and how are they actually finding you or where would they be looking for your service. But then you want to test that once you've already got the budget rather than a client's got a small budget that it's just going to go to waste trying to do everything everywhere. If something's working, you can stick to it. But if you're then developing enough profit, or even if you've hit the max of we're reaching everyone that there is to at the minute, any more spend is just going to plateau it. So let's take it and spend it somewhere else.
Right. When it comes to creatives, how do you determine what is going to work? And what won't on a platform? Because I'm assuming it's a constant back and forth on what is working here may not work there. How do you determine that a set of, like you said, the top of the funnel will have like 2 ad sets and then 2 more ad sets? How do you determine what sits where? And how is it different for each of those sets? Like, what is your thought process behind it?
So some people set it up so that they have one ad set is like, this will only be video shown in the Reels feed. This one will only be stories, but actually that's going to be way more expensive because if you have, so each audience we have, let's say we start off usually with 5 ads underneath it. So I'm trying to target people who like gold jewelry in LA. But this person really likes stories and buys lots of stuff off stories. This person really likes reels. Whereas I can reach both of them because I've got one ad of each. So I've got one static, one carousel, one catalog ad, and then one video that's got Susie's face on it, and then another one that's a product unboxing. And each
Mhm.
of those will go to the person that um, is more responsive to it. So rather than we've got these 2 people, so let's say Reels Susan is online, so we enter the bid for it, but we'll get a lower price if we've got all of these available, so we can just show the Reels one. Whereas if we've only got stories on it, we're going to end up we're going to end up either paying a lot less, and she's not going to respond to it because it's not the kind of one that that person will react to. It's basically, if you've got all the options there, then the algorithm can kind of pick which one is right for each person, and you get an overall lower cost per click on that. But the actual
Absolutely. Yeah.
creative, uh, we ran enough ads, I think we've got about 600 live at the minute, to know the kind of templates and formats and the kind of hooks that work. But you want a few different ones of differing lengths. Even if you're doing an A/B test, just tweak one little bit from it, but you want some very different ads in there, and then you can refine it.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's extremely smart. Okay. We know Black Friday is a sprint, right? But the lessons that people often learn during Black Friday often apply year round. So, what's one tactic for those high pressure campaigns do you think that every marketer should actually apply weekly when they're running their regular campaigns, when it's not a Black Friday specific campaign?
Probably the thing people neglect is after Black Friday or after the Christmas stuff dies down, and not setting up the data collection ahead, not making sure that they're collecting all those audiences and any emails where possible and the first party data rather than relying on the platforms, that then that you can retarget them with email rather than paying the platform. You can send them a message. You can contact them on other platforms rather than needing to pay for more ads to reach the same people. So wherever you can, make sure that somewhere in your user journey collecting some form of first party data as well, so you're not
Yeah.
constantly reliant on paying the ads platforms to reach them.
Yeah, beautiful. Talking about agency client relationships, there's often kind of a communication gap, right? So, if agency owners listening today fix one communication habit that they can implement tomorrow, what should it be?
No news is still news. Even if you don't have anything to tell the client, tell them everything's going great and we're carrying on as we are this week. Show them as many stats as they need. Give them the live reporting link really, really works. Then it avoids a lot of questions. Even if you just send that same link every week and just give them a couple of bullet points of, this is what's live, this is what worked, this is what didn't, here's what's going live next week or over the weekend.
Hmm.
Have a good Friday, something like that. Just
Yeah.
some kind of communication, because clients get other people to, or managers get other people to run the ads because they don't have the time to do it or the knowledge or the capacity. So if they don't, if they're not in the ads, they can't see that you're doing anything. If you never speak to them, they just assume that you're not doing anything unless you actually tell them, no, we're testing this, we're doing this is what's happening, this is what we need from you. And the more that the client understands it, the better the relationship is. There isn't really a danger of them then taking back over the ad account. The suppose worst danger is that they care enough to start providing more assets or more content, or they understand and can react really quickly to anything in the user journey that needs tweaking.
Right. So little more over communicate, do not under communicate, right? Like keep talking to them about your steps.
Even if they don't reply, just keep sending it. Make sure that they get it.
So that's your strategy also, to keep them patient yet engaged at the same time.
Yeah.
Because then they're not in the dark.
Exactly.
Right. So if you were to wave a magic wand and get every agency in the world to stop wasting time on one thing tomorrow, what would be on top of your list?
Or probably just using automations and not actually doing the manual work. As Icelink have actually left us twice, and the second time they came back after 2 weeks when they realized that switching agencies to try save costs. All that was happening, they were losing so much revenue because everything was just being automated for them. They were still using some of our creatives, but they were just losing money. They realized they couldn't afford to not have us there. So educate yourself on the platforms. Facebook's got all the free knowledge on Blueprint. YouTube's got a Creator Academy. TikTok's got a course on its ads. Pinterest has one. Google's got Google Digital Garage. LinkedIn has its own ads course. All the information is there. Don't just try automate things. Make sure that the tracking's set up and that you're actually knowing which levers to pull and what they mean, rather than thinking that it will be okay if you just let the platform spend your money.
Right. Looking ahead in 12 to 18 months from now, what's the shift in social media that agency leaders aren't talking about enough yet?
Probably automation, because now TikTok shop ads you can only run as the GMV ads, which are very automated. You can still control bits of it, of the creatives and the products that are shown, so we still do that. From January 2026, all Facebook ads are going to be done with AI. I think that that's basically just going to be an advantage plus variation. There are still lots of levers that we can pull. So whilst we can, let's cling on to those. And while we've still got as much targeting freedom as we do currently, build those top of funnel audiences. So everyone you've got to retarget is actually within your target demographic as well.
All right, that was all from my end. Thank you so much for your time. And if our audience wants to get in touch with you and if they still have questions, where can they find you and hit you up?
Fiona Bradley on LinkedIn or linkedin.com/Fiona-content-marketing.
All right, beautiful. And for everyone listening, I hope you're leaving with at least one thing you're going to stop doing this week and one framework that you're going to start using tomorrow. Thank you, Fiona, for bringing so much honesty and practical know-how. And thanks, everyone, for joining. So keep an eye out for the replay and takeaways in your inbox. Until that next time, go run better campaigns. See you. Thank you so much.